Welcome to the Edinburgh Fringe. We're into the final week, but that just means 8 more nights of theatre, comedy, stand-up, musical, and everything else that makes up the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Edinburgh Calling, the largest arts festival on the planet, right to your ears. For myself, Ewan, Spence, and the team at the Podcast Corner and Radio 6 International. And yes, it is week 3, and many will have that very, very long stare off into the distance. There are other shows that are actually making their debut this week. They've only come up for 1 week. Keep the budget down, get yourself visible. And of course, there are shows that are building up momentum. There are shows that are looking to move to other venues and theatres in September and beyond. Everybody has their story to tell. We can tell just a handful of them here on the podcast. Of course, all of those shows that are getting the momentum are becoming clear to the media. But remember, that has to be the most momentum. With 3,500 shows taking to the stage, only a few are going to get a nod in print and in the trades. So make a point of looking beyond those. Yes, take in the ones that you're going to be comfortable with. You're sure you're going to get a good show. But that's only one of the rule of 3. Look at those online reviews. Look at the reviews pasted up outside the venues to get other people's thoughts. If you're in a queue, just go to the people around you and go, what have you seen? Not only is it a wonderful icebreaker, it's a much, much more accurate discovery engine than you will find online. Just a sort of opinion of the masses coming through in all the queues, in all the spots, and in all the discussions. To kick off our interviews this week, I sit down with Cheeyang, star of the solo show Legendary, a look at Chinese mythology, memory, and queer legacy. It balances that mythology against trans identity and the power of your authentic self. It carries a message of ritual around a cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth. It brings the Chinese gods to a Western audience, for many for the first time, but a moment for those with Asian ties to see themselves reflected and shared. We talk about how the show has evolved, especially following Cheeyang coming out as trans. We look at how Legendary turns expectations on heads as the narrator stays constant and the audience is the change. And how the hero's journey is not the only journey that can be taken on a stage. Joining me now on the podcast, in the belly of the underbelly, we're finding all the venues this month, it has to be said. Cheeyang from the show Legendary, welcome to the podcast.
Hi Ewan, how are you?
We're the start of week 3 at the Fringe, and yeah, we now have the equivalent of 2 Glastonburys still left to go.
I don't even know what time is anymore, so you tell me.
It's time to talk about your show Legendary. That's it. That's all we're doing now. Let's punch that in. Tell us about the show.
Legendary, I love to describe it as ancient myths, modern questions, and it is a show that is a solo ritual musical, and it kind of brings together Chinese mythology with trans legacy. And what is trans legacy? And so it's a show that I've been wanting to write for a really long time and finally finished it. And here we are, making its debut at the Fringe.
There are so many different ways into this show. Can I start with the word ritual? Why that word?
I am not religious at all. I grew up with Buddhist upbringings and also went to Presbyterian school. So very much in an East and West kind of dichotomy. And I think the idea of the ritual is that I think people sometimes think about ritual as a negative connotation sometimes because it feels like very witchy, very much like things that are outside of the ordinary. But for me, I think it's just something that people can come to and be like, this is something we can do together. Something that is communal, something that is building something that we might not be familiar with, and something that might be, I think in the best sense of the word, ritual is just a habit, something that you can do together. That's my thought around it. Yeah.
And of course, the trans issues feature heavily, thankfully.
Yes.
It's a wonderful place to showcase that at the Fringe. What's more important then, those trans issues or the Chinese folk that sort of lies at the base?
I think they're all in conversation with each other. I am a person who is Chinese, ethnically Chinese, and also trans. And I don't differentiate between one identity or the other. I'm also not the most interested in defining identity within the binary. Like I'm not interested in being like trans person, Chinese person. I'm more interested in like the human nature of it all. And so yes, the identifiers are there so that people can interact with the work a little bit more accessibly. But once you come into the show and once you like experience the show, you realize that we're really just talking about a very human experience of growing up and experiencing the world. And so Chinese mythology is in conversation with the trans identity. I don't think they are separate from one another.
How do you get to a place where you can write a show like this?
I think living a life, like fully trying to immerse myself in living my most authentic version of my life. I publicly came out as trans a year ago, slightly over a year ago, which is very, very recent. I knew I have been trans for a really long time, obviously, but publicly just announcing it to the world and saying, I mean, very much within the media's eye and just within, the zeitgeist of social media as well. It was both freeing and frightening to be like, I can't hide my public persona from who I am anymore. But it was also very freeing because I don't have to segment myself to be a different type of person anywhere I go. And so, yeah, I think the reason why I started writing the piece was very much like, I don't have to pretend to be a different person in different spaces anymore. This is a show that brings together all parts of who I am. And hopefully people experiencing the show can realize that they can also experience all parts of who they are. I think the thing that I've learned a lot about the show while doing it and doing it for audiences here at the Fringe is that, sure, the first concentric circle of people who feel that they're being seen are the queer Asian people. But outside of that first concentric circle, like yesterday, one of my friends from London brought their mom, who is Irish Catholic, up here and saw the show. And she was like, I saw myself in this person on stage more than I've ever seen anyone else. Which is crazy because I am not Irish Catholic, And so I think there is a openness to human connection that we kind of close ourselves off to. And Legendary is a show that tries to, if you come into Legendary and have a very open heart to receive and to heal together with other people in community, you will find it to be a very freeing experience, like how I found me coming out publicly freeing.
Now, the show itself picked up awards and debuted in 2024. Mm-hmm. So that would be before you publicly came out.
Yes.
Has the show changed now that you have?
Yes, very much so, actually. I started writing the show and I tried to distance myself from the protagonist, to say, right, the narrator of the show. When I first started writing it, there were elements of material that were more like dramatization of certain things or trying to put myself away from the narrative as much as I could. But since coming out, I think the show has evolved to be a truthful narration of like my life and my experiences, because instead of trying to dramatize everything that has happened, I tell it the way that they did. And it has become, I don't know, it just feels, again, it goes back to the idea of being really freeing. It has been, I can't afford therapy. I love to say that a lot because I live in America and therapy is really expensive. And the piece has very much become my form of therapy, like through writing music, through the songs that I write, through the Through the story, I am finding a lot of myself and a lot of how I process my emotions and how I help other people process their emotions. Very therapeutic. The show is different every single night. It's not like completely improvised, but there are moments that are improvised. And because of that, it keeps it really, really fresh. And so people have come back again and again and again. Today, someone I met came and said, this is my third time seeing the show. I saw it in London. I came here and saw it twice. And I'm like, and she's like, oh, I recognize that the show has changed again because the show is ever evolving and it's evolving based on me and my experience with the crowd. So it also depends on whether the crowd is receptive or not, you know? There's so many elements to it that I do not have control over. But the part that I do have control over is myself. And yeah, I am having the best time doing it.
Obviously, lots of elements to choose from on the show when you're on the stage. Is there one element that grounds you?
I look forward to performing the opening number every single night because, first of all, it's the first thing that I sing, right? It really grounds me because despite and wherever I am, right? If I come into the theater frazzled because the day has been really hectic, or I come in a little tired or exhausted because the Fringe is insanely exhausting, it always grounds me because it is the first introduction that introduced me to the world. It is the song that people know the most. Like, most people who follow me on social media know this song because they've seen it online and they're like, because of this song, they want to come and see the show. And it is the first song that I wrote in my entire life that I have not rewritten. I rewrite my songs all the time. And this is the first song that I wrote that from the first day that I wrote it, which was January of 2024, I did not change a single note or a single word of it because I thought that it captured the full essence of like the show that I'm about to write and about to embark on, the journey that we're about to embark on. And if you ask me how I started writing this song, I can't even tell you. I don't remember how it came to be, but I knew, and I know every single night that I do it, I can find my breath and find my center again in order to tell this story and this journey that we're about to go on. And I know how transformative the song is to other people and how transformative that song is to me and how it lays the stage and foundation of the show. So every single time I do it, I'm like, what a blessing it is to be able to do this, song that I would say half of the people in the audience would know and half of them don't, and they're discovering it for the first time. And I know the power of a really good song. And that is the song that grounds me every single day.
So it's your ritual?
It is my ritual, yes, every time. And it really does. It does give me like this sense of peace, like wherever I am in my day, right? Once I get to sing that song, it is in 3 sections. And by the time it depends on the day, but by the time I get to the final section, I'm always like, yes, we are ready to start this journey together with the audience. Yeah.
When you finished writing the last line of that song, when did you know it was going to be the song?
I didn't know because I was like, as a writer, I'm always like, is this even good? I don't know. But I remember very, very distinctly, this is the first show I've written by myself. I've always had collaborators. I'm usually book and music, and I usually collaborate with someone who's doing book and lyrics. I've now been in many permutations of writing for different projects, but this is the first show that I'm writing book, music, lyrics for. And when I first finished the song in January of 2024, I'm going to shout out Goodspeed Musicals in Connecticut, East Haddam, Connecticut. They have a writer's retreat there. That they bring together a bunch of musical theater writers, and we get to share. Every single night, you get to share something that you've written that night if you like. And I remember the looks on every single person in that room. I will never forget it because one of my best friends was in the retreat with me at the time. And I remember her mouth was on the floor, and I was like, I've never seen her mouth agape in my life before. And I was like, wait, there is something magical about this that I have never captured in any of my other writing. Not saying that the other writing's not good. I'm just saying like there is something about this moment that I know is magical and transformative. And I think it was so obvious. It was so obvious because when I sang the song, when I performed it for the very first time, I was like, I don't know if it's good. We'll see. I don't know if these, because I was trying audience interaction for the first time. I was trying things that like made sense in my head for the first time that I don't know whether it works with an audience. And when I opened my eyes at the end and the final note, when I finished singing it, I can still remember the looks on everyone's faces. And I was like, okay, I have something here. Yeah. So that was really magical when that happened.
So was Legendary then written around that song, or did you already have the idea for Legendary before that retreat?
I knew what the show was about. I knew the show was going to be about Chinese mythology, and I knew it was going to be about the cycle of samsara, which is the cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth, which is I would say like an Asian, like both Indian and Chinese kind of structure that has been around for eons, really. And I knew it was going to be a piece about this cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth. And when I wrote that first song, at that retreat, I actually wrote the first 3 songs of the show, and they've all stayed. Some version of it has stayed in the show, and that constituted the birth section of the show. And I knew I wanted to kind of expand. I mean, all of the songs in the show are in conversation with mythology, but I also wanted to find ways to deviate from the structure that I laid out in the first 3 songs. So I wouldn't say like I wrote the show around that first song, but I knew that by writing the first song, I was on the right path to creating a story that is deeply personal, but also with full of universal themes, if that makes any sense.
I mean, the Western audiences will be used to things like the Roman myths, the Greek myths, the Chinese myths. I'm not very familiar with them. Is there a sort of appreciation without knowing them?
I think that's a great question. And the more I perform it, the more I realize that exactly everyone comes in with a different expectation of what they know and what they don't know. So I am a person that lives at the intersection of East and West. I grew up in Singapore, and Singapore is very much a very westernized society, but that is deeply rooted in Eastern traditions. And so my entire life has been grappling with what it means to be someone that has all these deeply rooted Eastern traditions living in a westernized society, both in Singapore and now in America and about to be London, UK. And people coming into the show, what I realize is people who know these myths, who have some kind of link to Chinese mythology and some kind of link to Asian culture, will experience the show very differently from the people who don't, right? These people who have ties to Chinese mythology and Asian culture are hearing people from the West sing about these gods they've known their entire lives for the first time. That experience is unparalleled because, for example, I was on BBC Radio the other day and it was a room full of 99% white people, which is fine. I spotted one black person there, and having an entire audience of that demographic sing about the gods that I grew up with. Wow, that was transcendental. These people have never heard of these gods in their entire life, and they are here with open hearts, receiving. And I'm not saying like we're not worshiping these gods, we're just saying these gods as we learned them. There's no like, you have to make a sacrifice. You know, there's none of that. It's all about just understanding someone else's culture. And so for a person with Asian background and Asian ties, they would experience hearing Western audiences sing about their ancestry for the first time. And for people who have never experienced it in their lives, it's also a very transformative experience because I don't teach you exactly how to pronounce them perfectly. You have to let go of that perfection of like understanding every single detail of every single thing. I just go, here is what it is. And you're just going to come along on this journey with me. And they do. It's always so transformative when people tell me why this show is good. and with that kind of energy, it's very surprising also by the end when they release themselves of that energy, that they're finally open to receiving and that journey for them. A lot of times Western audiences are very tied to, for example, the Odyssey or like myths that they know, and also very tied to the story structures that they know, like the hero's journey, like, rising action and the climax and then some kind of resolution. And people do come in with that kind of expectation that that's the storytelling that they're going to receive. And unfortunately for them, this is not the kind of show. It is not the kind of show in the sense of like, I don't explicitly tell you that it is based on samsara. I briefly talk about it throughout the show. I do hint at it. But if you come on the journey expecting this hero's journey, you're going to be like, I don't understand it, because what is the hero going on? Like, I remember very distinctly a mentor asking me, trying to evaluate the piece based on this hero's journey arc. And then I said, that was not my intention. I know how to write a hero's journey arc and a story like that, but this is not that kind of story. This is a story about life. This is a story just about life, and life is not about a hero's journey. You can think that it is, but it really is not. Life is messy. Life is convoluted. Life is full of surprises. And there's also this beauty of cyclical nature in Asian storytelling that I'm bringing into the piece that, again, back to the idea of the Western audience, I think a lot of people come in, even though you don't have the expectations of who these gods are, what kind of storytelling you're going on. If you come in openly and receive and wanting to receive whatever is being put out to you, meeting the artists where they are, it can be a really transformative experience because it is unlocking certain things that you didn't even know that you needed healing. Like every night that I do the show, I think about how I am transformed by the people that are there. But at the same time, I think about, you think that I'm the protagonist, but actually you're the protagonist. You're the one going through the transformation, not me, because I'm just here facilitating the transformation. And you are the one actually going on the supposed hero's journey that you love to, perceive yourself to go on. If you're here open to receiving that, then you will find that transformation in yourself, which I am very thankful for. I'm very thankful to be able to do that and facilitate that every single night.
So it's almost like, and my touchstones again are Western stories. It's almost like you're the muse, the narrator, because something has to change in a show for the show to mean something.
Mm-hmm.
So do you change in this show, or are you making sure that the audience changes?
I think, this is the secret of the show, which I've never
want to give it away.
No. I've kind of articulated, but I don't articulate it within the show itself. But I do think that the protagonist is the audience. You are the one going through the change, not me. You're listening to the story that how I have changed, but I have already changed, and I'm telling you how I have changed through all of these big questions that I've been asking myself in my life. But how have you changed? By sitting here, sharing space with me, and going through this entire journey. You think you're here to see a show, but actually you are a part of the show. If you are not there, if this audience is not there, the show cannot happen. The show cannot happen the way that it happens. The show cannot function the way that it functions. The audience is a character in the show. Every single person there is playing yourself. And through the journey of the show, you are changed. I think a lot of times what I realize about my life as well is that no one has given me the permission to be myself. I had to find that permission for myself. And in order to do that, I think a lot of people in their lives also don't give themselves the permission to do that, right? Like you hold on to all these societal expectations of who you need to be. And I think the show gives you the permission, or tries to ignite that permission for yourself to start that journey. And I think, again, if you're open enough to receive, then you will, I don't even think it's like a complete transformation. It's like you leave the show ready to begin your own transformation. So
this might be an overreach on the part of me as the host, but did the show then help you change and give you permission to come out?
I think writing the show, I spent 2024 while writing the show feeling like a fraud, because I felt like, why am I writing the show about, my life, but still am in the closet and still not wanting to talk about it. I mean, I'm going to go into woo-woo territory now. I went to meditation and I started a meditation practice. And when I did in 2025 of last year, July of 2025, I saw my ancestors. Like, people can say you're schizophrenic and you can say you're delusional, whatever you want to believe. But I fully saw them, and it was while I was writing the show, and I felt so much at peace. I felt like if they are not judging me for who I am as a person, it gave me the permission to say, I should be myself and I am allowed to be myself. And I think the show saved me. I think the show like allowed me to be myself without needing to compartmentalize, without needing to justify why I am the way that I am. And now when that transcendental experience happened, I think it's all like the universe saying like, you are right where you're meant to be, you know? Like, I don't envision myself having been able to do this 10 years ago. I don't think so. I don't think that's possible. I think I am exactly where I need to be today. I think the people who are receiving the peace are exactly the people who need to be receiving the peace. And I mean, I am really in awe of the number of people who have flown in from all over the world to come and experience the peace, because they're like, we've seen you on social media. We know that maybe we can't see this in our country, Singapore, for example, or China, for example. Maybe, we don't know yet. But I know I need to experience this. So we're flying in from all across the world and saying like, this is the priority for us to see this at your debut, like at this world premiere, because I know how much it means to you to make this piece of art and I want to experience it. I have never experienced that in my life before. I'm not Ariana Grande, you know, like I've never experienced that in my life. And for people to keep wanting to come back, even after they've experienced the show, bring their friends, bring their mom, bring their friend. Like, I am very thankful. I never thought that a show could do that to people. But at the same time, I also knew that it is possible. You know, it's like both. Again, life is not binary. So
we talk about on this podcast and all around the magic that is the Fringe and how intangible it can be and how it touches everybody differently. And I think it's touched you in its own way.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing the show to us.
Oh my God. I could not imagine a better platform to start this show. Yeah.
We have to slide into the marketing bit now, though. We've had these lovely moments and everything, but now we got to get bums on seats. Now we got to get the tickets sold. So, where can people come and see the show?
So I am playing every single day, 3:35 at Underbelly's Bristow Square in the Friesen venue. And I'm here all the way till the end of the festival. Apparently, I learned a lot about this. Apparently, a lot of people are not playing the last day, the 31st, but I am. So you can come. I will be here every single day. We're selling really well, so almost every show is sold out. But you can still get your tickets. Let's sell it all out. And if you'd like to join me, you can get your tickets on Underbelly or the EdFringe website.
And we will have links direct into the box office at our website, which is edinburghfringe.thepodcastcorner.com. And outside of Edinburgh, where can people find you online?
You can find me at Cheeyang Music, Cheeyang Music. And that is on all social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Xiaohongshu, which is Little Red Note, which is a Chinese platform. You can also find the show at Legendary the Musical on Instagram and Legendary Musical on TikTok. I know I have to fix that.
We'll drop some of those links in as well, probably to the main website, and everybody else can follow in there. And I guess I have to put a link into Spotify as well. Please let there be music. Please let me know that you're doing a music show and the music is ready afterwards.
Legendary, the studio EP, is going to be released on August 28 on all streaming platforms. And you can hear the first 3 singles right now on Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever you stream your music. So, yes.
And any physical releases?
No physical releases at the moment, but when we announce a full run somewhere either in New York or London, stay tuned, we will have CDs available for people to purchase.
And that's where the Instagram and website links come in to find out more about the show as it has a life after Edinburgh. But just an amazing show, and thank you for sharing the show and yourself just now.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, Cheeyang.
Bye.
Cheeyang from the show Legendary, which plays at 3:35 at the Underbelly in Bristol Square. It's in the Frisian stage. Head to Bristol Square and follow the signs on your tickets, please. As noted there, right through until Monday and August the 31st. Tickets available at edinburghfringe.thepodcastcorner.com, and you find links into the website and the Instagrams there as well. There's a lot going on. There is always a lot going on at the Fringe, but week 3, you just have to remember that there's so much more Fringe to see. There's so much more variety. So if you're up here, you know, you've not missed anything. You're not going to be able to see all the shows. Just sit down, find something, and love it. And when you do, let other people know. And to help us let other people know, link, like, love, share, and subscribe across the social medias to the podcast. And if you're able to leave us a star review or a thumbs up or anything in your podcast app or directory, please do. It helps other people find us. It lifts us up the search engines, and we can carry on doing this for another 22 years. But for now, we just need to carry on doing it for another 24 hours. I'm off back into the city, and I'll be back tomorrow with more Fringe. Ta-ra for now. Listening to the Edinburgh Fringe Show, hosted by Ewan Spence, produced by Spence Media for the Podcast Corner. Listen to more from the Fringe at edinburghfringe.thepodcastcorner.com.